So it's a 30-minute version, so no songs to play.
Welcome to the final senior speech of the year. Ashley Johnson is joined today by her parents, Doug and Dell Johnson, by her grandparents, Don and Bev, and I hope I don't kill this pronunciation, the Anisi, Ken and Pat Johnson, and her brother Jake Nainfree. She joined the prep community in pre-K. She's been part of the basketball team, the track and field, student council, including secretary-treasurer this year. But her real love, as you might have guessed from the music or the slide, is rowing. And she will end up rowing for a D1 school in Tulsa, Oklahoma, come fall. Another secret tidbit about Ashley is that she has a Minecraft addiction. So, let's hear about rowing.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Except when you're racing, it's not gentle. It feels like you're dying, and you can only focus on your hamstrings, as well as every other muscle in your body hurting. If you're doing it right, you will feel like death the entire time. So why would somebody put their body through the pain of rowing a boat down the river, for sport I might add, when there are much faster ways to travel? Well, that is a great question that I ask myself occasionally. But it is all about the satisfaction of knowing that I can push my body to its limits, and I can tell people, yeah, I row a boat for fun. Rowing was first used as a means of transport in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. The first rowed vessels made their appearance more than 4,000 years ago, and the first evidence we have of competitive rowing for leisure comes from 1430 BC Egypt. Egyptian pharaoh Amenhotep II was praised for his talent as a rower. He competed against several other Egyptian nobles. Another example is from the Roman storyteller Virgil. He described the death of the Greek hero Aeneas. During his funerary games, which are athletic competitions held in honor of a recently deceased person, regattas were held, along with other competitions. Though these boats were used for transport in cities such as Venice, they were also used for racing. Venice was a prominent city for racing because it is built on the Mediterranean Sea. Many races were held through the city itself and the narrow waterways. The oldest continuing race to this day is the Doggett Coat and Badge Race in England. This race has been held since 1715. And the course is between the London Bridge and the Chelsea Harbour. It is 4 miles, 5 furlongs, or 7.44 kilometers long, which is longer than your typical races, being between 2,000 or even 5,000 meters. The winner's prize is a traditional waterman's red coat with a silver badge added, displaying the horse of the House of Hanover with the word Liberty in honor of the accession of George I to the throne. Today, the largest and most popular regattas in the Henley are the Henley Royal Regattas held on the River Thames in England. It was established on March 26, 1839. There are also 3 separate regattas held on the same course: the Henley Women's Regatta, the Henley Masters Regatta, and the Henley Town and Visitors Regatta. The most popular and prestigious event at the Henley Royal Regatta is the Grand Challenge Cup for the men's 8. The most popular regatta in the United States is the Head of the Charles in Boston on the Charles River. This regatta lasts for 2 days, but it is the largest 2-day regatta in the world, with 11,000 athletes rowing over in 1,900 boats in 61 different events. There are 2 different types of rowing boats. These are sweep and sculling boats. Sweep or rowing, is when a rower has one oar held with both hands. As each rower only has one oar, there is an even amount of port oars and starboard oars alternating respectively. You can also use German rigging. This is when 2 consecutive rowers have oars on the same side. Sweep boats consist of pairs, 4s, and 8s. Sculling boats have riggers on both sides for each person. Each sculler has 2 oars, 1 in each hand. Sculling boats consist of singles, doubles, and quads. A pair and a double both have 2 people in them, but the main difference is a pair is a sweep boat and a double is a sculling boat. The double is more stable than the pair, and typically the pair isn't rowed until the 2 rowers have much more experience, as they're pretty easy to flip. The difference between the quad and the 4 is similar to the difference between the pair and the double. The quad is a sculling boat, and the 4 is a sweep boat. Even though there are many different boats to compete in, 4s and 8s are the most commonly raced boats in colleges and in large regattas, as they are the fastest boats on the water. There is some important vocabulary to understand to make life easier around the boathouse. Firstly, the coxswain. The coxswain is the person that is in charge of navigating the boat and giving directions to the rowers. Sometimes the rowers will have a love-hate relationship with the coxswain because mid-race they will yell at you to pull harder when you feel like you're already giving it your all. The bow is the first part of the boat to cross the finish line. Rowers are facing the opposite direction, so the person sitting in the bow seat would be the first person at the front of the first person to cross the finish line. The stern is the back of the boat and is the last part of the boat to cross the finish line. This is the direction the rowers are facing. If you are in a boat without a coxswain, bow seat would have to turn around and see where to steer the boat. This always falls on the bow seat unless you are in a single in which you are steering yourself down the river. The person closest to the stern is called the stroke seat. They are in charge of setting and keeping the pace of the boat. Everyone behind them is responsible for following their stroke. Next are the riggers. The riggers hold the oars and the oarlocks, which are at the end of the riggers and will keep them in place. The photos on the left are of sweep riggers with sweep oars. The photo on the right is a pair of sculling riggers with sculling oars. Finally, the boat itself can be called the boat, rowing boat, or shell. You can say any of the 3 when referring to a rowing boat. Many rowers experience blisters on their hands, myself included. If you are any of my friends, then you have heard me tell you, look at the blister I got from yesterday's row. Hand blisters are the results from the hands and the handle of the oar rubbing against each other throughout the row. I have also gotten blisters, or what we usually call track bite, on my lower calves. The pictures with the smeared blood were from a doubles race that I actually raced with Catherine Jeffroy when she rowed for the Augusta Rowing Club. This is when the tracks that the seat moves back and forth on rub against your calves and cause friction. Blisters can be pretty brutal sometimes, yet superglue, new skin, and bandages are your new best friends. I've gotten my fair share of blisters over the years, so people always tell me to wear gloves. Trust me, I have, and they're just not for me. Christina Goulogne, a 2-time Canadian Olympic rower, explains that you need to be able to feel the oar properly. Quote, gloves are never recommended because you would lose too much connection with the handle and the water, end quote. I started rowing at the end of my sophomore year after our track season ended. It was just after the girls' team claimed first place in state and the boys were runner-up. I came into the sport pretty confident after our great win, but I still remember the first time I drove into the parking lot of the Augusta Rowing Club. I saw my coach, Brad Holdren, driving his truck up from the ramp, pulling a launch boat with a big group of kids, all smiling and waving at me. It was such a warm welcome, and I just had a gut feeling that day that this would be my second home. During our first chat, he was so welcoming and excited to have me there. He told me, and I remember this specifically, to look up Olympic rowing videos on YouTube, and when I got home, to do a squat every time the rowers took a stroke. He said that this is what a race would feel like. This seems pretty easy, right? Wrong. When we got home, my mom and I pulled up a video and broadcasted it to her television. Safe to say that he was correct. During a race, the stroke rate can reach anywhere between 30 and 40 strokes per minute. It doesn't sound that bad, but just watch this video and imagine it for yourself. This is from the 2012 London Olympics. Rowing has changed my outlook on my health and fitness journey. I used to work out and train simply to obtain a certain physique and be as small as I could. Even when I did recover physically from my eating disorder, I did not know how to continue with my mental health journey. Being an athlete is more than just winning competitions. It is about having a connection with your mind and body. You train not only to change yourself, but to make yourself better. Being strong does not have one look and is different for every sport. Finding a purpose to be strong and a reason to become healthy has changed my life. I would not trade what rowing has given me and helped me learn for anything. I hope that all of you find that passion someday that changes you into the person you are meant to be. Thank you.